Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Now we'll have a class, as I said, there'll be a small lecture on the Bhagavad Gita, the classical wisdom, the ancient classical wisdom. So Prabhuji will pick one text and then he'll speak on that.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So is any of you here for the first time? Raise your hands. Oh, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for choosing to spend your time here with us. Also, I'm happy again to be here with all of you also spending time in Boston. So we will discuss a few words of wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita is a Sanskrit classic, over 5,000 years old. It's a dialogue actually. It could be said one of the greatest dialogues ever. And you can ask me once you've read it if you agree or not. So I'll chant an invocation prayer and then we will read. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we'll be reading from the Bhagavad Gita. We'll read a verse from the 11th chapter. Today's theme is how we can love Krishna best, how we can love the Supreme best. This is a chapter called the Universal Form, and in this dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, Krishna has just done something completely astonishing, completely amazing for Arjuna. He revealed his universal feature. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being supreme, I wanted to establish a standard. He knows the age we live in, that many of us may come to this strange conclusion that actually we are also God, we are the Supreme. I'm sure some of you have heard that somewhere. Man, you are God, I'm God, everybody's God. So Krishna has established, yes, everyone is godly in quality, but only the Supreme is supreme in all aspects, complete. And for the future to come, then anyone who wants to claim themselves God would have to at least show a feature like what Krishna has shown, as in he showed the entire cosmic manifestation to be his expansion, that he's present in everything. So we'll read text 51. Please repeat one more time. Om Namo Bhagavate.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, text 51. Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Okay, if you have your Bhagavad Gita, then you can repeat, otherwise it can get tricky. Jistvedam manusam rupam tava shomyam janadana idanim asmi samvrita sacheta prakritim gataha. Please repeat. Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna said.
Arjuna said.
Dristva.
Drishta.
Seeing.
Seeing.
Idam.
Idam.
This.
This.
Manusam.
Manusam.
Human.
Human.
Rupam.
Rupam.
Form.
Form.
Tava.
Tava.
Yo.
Yo.
Shomyam.
Saumyam.
Very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Janadana.
Janadana.
Or chastiser of the enemies.
Chastiser the enemies.
Idanim.
Idanim.
Now.
Now.
Asmi.
Asmi.
I am.
I am.
Samvritaha.
Samvita.
Settled.
Settled.
Sachetaha.
Sacheta.
In my consciousness.
In my consciousness.
Prakritim.
Prakritim.
To my own nature.
To my own nature.
Gataha.
Gataha.
Return.
Return.
So translation. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janadana, seeing this human-like form so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature. Please repeat. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna
When Arjuna thus saw Krishna
in his original form,
in his original form,
he said,
he said,
O Janadana,
O Janardana,
seeing this human-like form,
seeing like this human-like form,
so very beautiful,
so very beautiful,
I am now composed in mind,
I am now composed in mind,
and I am restored to my original nature.
and I am restored to my original nature.
So I'll read the purport. Here the words Manusam Rupam clearly indicate the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be originally two-handed. Those who deride Krishna as if he were an ordinary person are shown here to be ignorant of his divine nature. If Krishna is like an ordinary human being, then how is it possible for him to show the universal form, and again to show the four-handed Narayan form? So it is very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita that one who thinks that Krishna is an ordinary person and who misguides the reader by claiming that it is the impersonal Brahman within Krishna's speaking is doing the greatest injustice. Krishna has actually shown his universal form and his four-handed Vishnu form. So how can he be an ordinary human being? A pure devotee is not confused by misguiding commentaries on Bhagavad Gita because he knows what is what. The original verses of Bhagavad Gita are as clear as the sun. They do not require lamplight from foolish commentators. Srila Prabhupada ki. So Srila Prabhupada, the gentleman sitting at the back of the temple, who is the founder and acharya of this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, he was asked that, Swami, what is the need of another Bhagavad Gita? Because this classical text has been extant for thousands of years, and many persons have gleaned a lot of wisdom from it. As you can read, people like Henry David Thoreau had read Bhagavad Gita, Ralph Waldo Emerson reading Bhagavad Gita, Gandhi had read Bhagavad Gita. So the text in its Sanskrit form is the same, but the difficulty is that different commentators would come and give a different purport to the message of Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, although the wisdom was there, when the consciousness of the commentator comes, then the actual meaning of the wisdom becomes lost. So Prabhupada said, I am writing this Bhagavad Gita, and he captured it, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Which means that just as this Arjuna heard it from Krishna and understood it, he was going to present the same. And because of doing that, then what Arjuna had understood to surrender to Krishna, become a devotee of Krishna, that conclusion is being reached by thousands of souls on this planet. Such as we are here sitting in South Africa. Growing up, I had never heard anything about Krishna. In retrospect, I remember there used to be on television on Sundays some Indian programming. Now I understand there was Mahabharat series playing that have all these people dressed up in armor and shining. And every time we went there, I just didn't get the dramatization. A lot of laughter. Ooh, ha, 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 ha. You know, the camera moving back and forth, and it seemed like low budget, you know. And I used to think, what is that? And switch. But for some time, it's playing and you can see the characters, but it never registered. Only later on, wandering the passageways of the University of Pretoria, I saw a poster, Bhakti Yoga Society. And there they had a topic called A Cure for All Diseases. And as a young man, I thought these guys are either smoking weed or they actually have something interesting to say. Because Bhakti Yoga, okay? As a young person, I thought yoga, it will help me, you know, enjoy a little better in the mind and transcend a lot of the drudgery of university life. And so we went there and we heard about Bhakti, and eventually one of the monks, they gave us a book. It was called Krishna Consciousness, the Topmost Yoga System. And I attempted to read it, but I don't remember what I was reading. But some of the Sanskrit terminology stayed, like this word Krishna and the name Arjuna, I remember. So Srila Prabhupada, he transplanted this wisdom outside of the Indian subcontinent and brought it over to the Western world. And he gave commentary in a language that anyone in the 21st century can be able to understand. And in that way, all of us are sitting here. There's an international society, there are books, and we can try to understand this knowledge. And the result, because he presented in the same spirit as it was understood by Arjuna, is that people are becoming devotees of Krishna. They are actually making practical use of this philosophy, this wisdom, and their lives are transforming in very wonderful ways. And in that way, actually, the world is changing, one person at a time. Here, Arjuna is revealing an aspect of relationship with the Supreme. Previously, Arjuna understood Krishna as like a cousin. Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita explains that although I am the Lord of all creatures, although I'm unborn, although my body is completely spiritual, still I appear in this material world millennium after millennium. This is because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has affection for us living beings. Krishna is explained also in the 15th chapter. He says, Mama Vangso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Manasa Stani Indriyani Prakriti Stani Kashati. He says, the living beings in this material world, you and I, we are struggling in this conditioned world with the mind and the senses. If we stop to think about that, yes, he's not off the mark. We are struggling from hunger, from thirst, from fatigue. Some of you sitting on the floor are already struggling with sort of aches here and there. Some may be struggling with a grumbling tummy, waiting to eat a meal. We're struggling with bad aromas. We have to bathe this body. We have to brush our teeth. We have to deal with old age. We don't want it, but it's forced upon us. But Krishna there identifies that the senses are there, but then the mind is chief and it's giving us problems. And so Krishna is saying, I come to this world, but there's a problem that the conditioned living beings, they do not understand my transcendental position. Transcendental means he is not governed by the laws of nature. People talk of 3-dimension, so then Krishna will be 4-dimension. If you're in a 10-dimensional place, Krishna will be 11-dimension. He's always above the laws of nature. And because he appeared seemingly as a cousin of Arjuna in a particular historical family on the planet, Arjuna understood him like that. He loved him, of course, and he was dealing with him as we deal with those that we know in our family, in our circle of friends. Arjuna, later, when Krishna revealed how the entire cosmic manifestation is nothing but an expansion of his different energies, how time and space are controlled by him as the supreme control. And then Arjuna could understand, wow, I always just thought you were like my cousin, my friend. And he starts to apologize. He starts to offer respectful obeisances from front, from the back. Oh, unbounded power. And in that, we get to see how a relationship with the Supreme is possible as we are having relationships in this world. But Krishna, just like us, because as Prabhupada explained, every living being, if we want to understand the Supreme, if we study ourselves minutely, we can sort of get an understanding, an idea of the source of everything. That we have personality. We have our personal feelings and thoughts. We have our own determination. We have our own desires. So these things are there in full within the Supreme Personality of God. Krishna, though, he appreciates loving relationships. By show of hands, who is against loving relationships? Oh, all of you are for loving relationships. This is a very good group of people. Yes, we want loving relationships. So in love, there should be no force. So generally in the Western world, we have now come to a point where when we discuss issues of God, even the term is like toxic poison, you know, or religion. Oh my God, you know, it's just people don't want to hear it because it's been associated with all the political dramas of this world, which are actually the dramas that are coming from contaminated hearts of mankind. They are greed, they are lust, they are anger, they are envy, they are thirst for power and domination. And they have used the greatest sentiment of everyone, which is to love. And who is the best person to love? The Supreme Father of everyone. They've used that sentiment to divide and conquer and start all sorts of nonsense on the planet. Therefore, people who think are linking the two. In the name of religion, you have done this. In the name of religion, you have done that. Therefore, they think, forget this religion, forget God. Another class which Prabhupada is talking about here is a class of people that recognizes the Supreme, but they think that the Supreme must be impersonal. You've heard people talk about, yeah, I believe there's an energy in the world, you know. We are like one with that energy. You know.
There's light.
Yeah, we want to merge into the light. We want to be in touch with the force that is governing the universe. So when we try to extend our imperfect senses to understand the infinite personality of God, we reach a wall naturally. We cannot extend our sense that far. So then conclusion comes that we think that, okay, I have a form, I have a body, it's limited, it causes me difficulty, it may be miserable at times. Therefore, the Supreme has to have opposite. He can't be embodied. But we are thinking in terms of material body. But the spiritual is something completely different. I mean, I cannot think of what a body made of bliss is. A body made of knowledge. An eternal body. It's beyond like our scope of thought. So others think that no, God must be just spread everywhere as an energy. Cannot be a person. Therefore, when it's just an energy, just like if I say, you please go outside in the street and try to fall in love with the sky. It's such a vast thing. Where do you start? You know, to appreciate. It's a difficult concept. Krishna acknowledges in Bhagavad Gita that those who try to go the impersonal route, theirs is very difficult. But here, he has revealed a form that Arjuna is appreciating. After showing the ghastly form of the entire universe, Arjuna was shook. His natural relationship of love with Krishna was disturbed. And then he started to offer prayers and he begged that you please remove this vision of this entire universe as what you are and show yourself in your beautiful human-like form with two arms. So there goes the idea that man has created God out of his image. Sometimes we try to stretch our minds to figure out things out. Then we think, oh, if they present a God that is human-like, then it's because we are humans, and because we're egotistical beings, then we must have designed a God that looks like that. But here, Krishna is being acknowledged by Arjuna to have originally that form. So, in terms of loving Krishna, Krishna prefers love which is not in this mood of awe and reverence. Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said there that Aishwarya Jnana Pradanye Sankuchita Priti. That love which is informed of the grandeur of the Supreme, of the majesty of the Supreme, becomes crippled. And Krishna doesn't like that. We can take an example. If any of you here, you probably are in some relationship, if your spouse is maybe a CEO at some company, and at work they may call him boss or something, or captain, whatever they call him. And if he comes home, since we're in the 21st century, maybe if she comes home, she may be the boss. Generally, they actually are the boss. That's another topic. And then he insists, or she insists, you call me boss at home. It doesn't work out, because then that is another platform of dealing. There's some intimacy. So because of that intimacy, that closeness, then how they deal with him at work, respecting the boss, is different than what must go on at home. Certainly with the kids, they don't think their father or their mother is some CEO. They deal with them out of love. So this sentiment is there also in the Supreme. This is one example of that we see. How love became crippled, became disturbed, became shrunken in Arjuna's own life. He's with Krishna. Krishna is so attractive, he's funny, he's wise. He's just the best guy to be with. And all of a sudden, this guy, whom I thought is my cousin, is actually the entire creation is within him. He's in charge of time, space, planets, everything. He becomes fearful. What am I dealing with here? So his natural loving mood became diminished. So Krishna consciousness, this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, is introducing us first to ourselves. How we are this consciousness that is encased in this body. We are the spiritual being. That we are part and parcel of the supreme spiritual being, as Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, where it's Angsas, Mama Angsa, Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Also, Sanatana, we are eternal beings. And then from that, then we are introduced to what are we connected to eternally? Because certainly we're not connected to Boston eternally. We're not connected to this temple eternally. In an hour's time, we will gladly walk away. Although we'd be happy if someone wants to stay and serve here, that would be very nice. We're not connected with this body eternally. We've attended funerals, we know. So, what am I connected to? And so Krishna has said, eternally, they are my parts and parcels. We are connected to the Supreme Lord Krishna eternally. And this connection can be felt and appreciated if there's a quality of love and devotion that is developed in the heart. Therefore, this bhakti yoga, bhakti means love and devotion. One elderly gentleman told us he was giving marital advice to a group of students at the university where we preach. And he was saying, please understand that if you want to get married, don't be fooled by the initial infatuation that has been called love. That is not really what love is. Even the social scientists have studied that. There's an infatuation period that lasts X amount of months, if you're fortunate, longer. And then that sort of the cloud clears, and then John can see Mary and Mary can see John for who they are. And that's when things really begin. So he said, actually, having been married for like over 30 years, he said, by sticking to my duties as a husband and doing my part in the team and seeing how my wife was sticking to their duties, doing her part in the team, a deep appreciation and friendship and something that I may even say love has appeared in my heart for my wife. He said that you have to serve someone, tolerate someone, humble yourself before someone, be patient with someone for a period of time to start having a real appreciation of love for someone. He gave the example of the mother. What does the mother have to deal with? We're at the Rath Yatra in Wheeling, just outside of our temple in Uvindhan. And we were enjoying the festival. I was taking my meal, and a mother walked past, and next thing she was sitting down, taking off the napkin of the child and cleaning. And I was there thinking, wow. But then I thought that actually Krishna has empowered us with a capacity to love and to serve. And we see this loving mood and this service attitude, at least with the mother for the children. That even sometimes the child becomes obnoxious. Still, the parent thinks, no, they're my son, they're my daughter, they still love them. So that love, even in this world, although it is not actually spiritual in its completeness, is it's unbreakable. It doesn't stop. So it is a semblance of the actual position of love, which is spiritual. It is eternal. There is no condition that can break it. That even in our birth year, we can become the biggest atheist. Maybe some Richard Dawkins or something. Or giving him a platform, that rascal. Anyway, yeah, him. And Krishna, who is in one feature the super soul, is still there in the heart of Mr. Dawkins. And Krishna has given him the brain with which he is decrying God day in and day out. Krishna is still supplying him oxygen. His digestion system still works. This is love. If you and I were God, God forbid, and then we've created such a nice facility for someone, they've got, a body, they have money, they have fame, and all day long, their mission is to speak ill about us. Hey, we'd be like that other God that strike you down with lightning, immediately. But Krishna is not like that. He's not envious of us. He loves us completely. He knows us completely. And so he maintains even those who don't like him, who don't understand him, who don't want to serve him. But he wants us to grow our quality of love for him. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is one of our acharyas in the line of teachers going back to the original teacher, Krishna himself, has explained 4, you could say, categories of persons that come to devotion. He says the first category, which is the lowest, is that out of fear, people approach God. It could be that, you don't want to go to hell. Maybe you've heard of something like hell, and it doesn't sound so attractive, and you at least intelligent enough, okay, let's say it's true. Let me do something. I don't want to find out the wrong way. So out of fear, okay, I go to the mosque, I go to the temple, I go to the synagogue, something. Try to worship God. So that is one stage. Obviously, like we wouldn't want someone to be in our lives because they're afraid of us. That if they don't try to be with us, then maybe we may harm them. Some people think, if I don't worship God, He may take away my possessions, He may strike me dead. And so, higher than that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that people approach God because of their material motivations, out of certain desires. in this world, actually we are being pushed on by our desires. We want certain things, we want certain situations. And therefore, even the motivational speakers, you know, they tell us, every morning you have to have your kind of list and your affirmations of what you want to achieve. Means water those desires, hone in on them, focus on them. You know? So whatever it is that we may desire, and sometimes it may not be working out as well. You know, we have our connections, but it's just not working out as we want. Then we get a bright idea. Okay, maybe if I try God, He may be connected to everything, knows everything. He may make things work. So people decide to approach God for fulfilling their material desires in this world. So this is also wonderful. You are approaching someone who's actually capable of fulfilling all desires. Bhaktivinoda Thakur then says, higher than that though, is those who come towards the Supreme out of duty. They are appreciating that already there's so much facilities that have been given to me for free. You know, the government doesn't give us things for free. No. They make even parking. I was telling the devotees yesterday, we were driving around, we went to see the Hare Krishna film, which please, if you get a chance, go and watch it. We're not promoting it, but we're really promoting it. Go watch it. It's amazing film about the mantra, the movement, and the Swami that started it all. And I noticed that when we were reaching any destination, then there was a whole drama about where to park. And then, you know, I look, oh yeah, there's parking. No, but you can't park there. There you can only park 2 hours. No, there is university parking. Oh no, that parking is only, I was like, what is this? I told the devotees, if you come to South Africa, at least you won't have problems with parking. So anyway, this is another way how the government is generating revenue from us. Okay, you do, if you want park, you do it, we'll find you. So they don't provide services for free. Anyway, the services they're supposed to be providing have been provided on such a grand scale by the Supreme Lord. They'll say, well, some big bang happened and then everything's working fine. Okay, Big Bang also doesn't charge. You are charging us for water. So someone appreciates, okay, God has provided so many things for me in my life. You know, you look at your family members, you look at maybe your job, your friends, something. And then maybe I should also honor the Lord by becoming a nice child. I should go at least offer a prayer. I should go offer something for the service of God, for the propagation of that wisdom. So this is a higher position. And this is generally the position where in our beginning stage of Krishna consciousness, we're being trained to become dutiful to the relationship that we have with the Lord. So at that point though, it's not free-flowing like the 16-year-old boy and girl who cannot put the phone down at 10, 11 p.m. talking to each other. And that attraction is spontaneously. Everywhere they're thinking of, you know, him or her. So we have to work at it. You've heard that, how people say we need to take time to work on our relationship. We need some quality time together, you know. You don't listen to me anymore. We never spend time together. Hey, this is a clue again. Our lives are a small display of real life, spiritual life, where there's relationship, where there's love, where there's quality time, where we have to hear each other out. And so Krishna, as the expert relationship connoisseur, he is also communicating. Bhagavad Gita is here. He is coming to tell us who he is, what this world is, who we are, what are the problems, how can we transcend them. He's communicating. So when we practice this process of Krishna consciousness, it is that we have to become conscious of Krishna. And Krishna is given a chapter here, 10th chapter, and also other places, where he's giving us ways to perceive him within material phenomena. I'm the light of the sun and the moon. I'm the ability in man. I'm the taste of water. I'm the sound in ether. I'm the intelligence of the intelligent. I'm the gambling of cheats. Prabhupada said, even if one is a drunk, one can drink whatever it is and appreciate that taste, that wow, my God. People even say, my God, this wine is the best. So, in many ways, Krishna is giving us a way to use our senses in this world, conditioned as they are, to see the relationship. So we practice mainly this chanting of Krishna's name. This is also another clue how we ourselves, we like to hear the sound of our name. Someone just mispronounces your name just slightly, you feel some type of way. You have to correct them, It's like my name is Savya Sachi. So sometimes people say Savior Sachi, and it's like, no, it's Savya Sachi. And then some say Sarvya Sachi. Or some say Sava Sachi. And I recognize this. Hey, why am I being touched like this? Previously, I still have that civilian name in my passport that my mother gave. But now I'm attached to this name. And if you shout anyone's name in the street, in the middle of any street, they turn around and look. So God, Krishna, like any other person, except his supreme person, also this inclination to feel happy or to love to hear your name is there in him. And so he has given us this process. You chant my name. Already we are speaking so many things in this world. We have a tongue, we have a voice, so we can chant. It's not a difficult thing. But the difficulty is that we don't really know this person, Krishna, who is he? So we don't really care for him. Why should I chant his name? I may chant the name of some movie star or some sound of Krishna about to appear before us. So, how long did we go?
Till 6:30 we have Arti, Kirtan.
Okay.
We have to end.
We'll end in 2 minutes and then give maybe a chance for one comment or question. So, Krishna has given this process of chanting Hare Krishna mantra as a way to develop our attachment for him. Also, it is a way of cleaning out the obstacles to that loving relationship, the envy that we may have. Why him? Why is he God? Why? Sometimes we resent also God is in our hearts. Why in my heart? Now he knows all my business, he's spying on me. No, we may resent a lot of things. If it's all love, then how come I'm going through difficulties? How come there was wars? People feel like that. But if we take the time, just as in any relationship in this world, where we put in time to know each other, to hear each other out, then we can discover actually who that other person is, and then we can better serve them, love them. So the same principle applies with our relationship with the Supreme Lord. We have to give an ear to his message, we have to hear him out, and then also apply the advice he gives. Like this main advice is that the sound of the name of God is none different from God himself. This is spiritual mathematics. 1 + 1 is 1, 1 - 1 is 1. Absolute. My name and me are not the same. It's only worthwhile if I'm within earshot. If I'm not, then it's useless. With Krishna, his name, he says that I've invested all my energies in him. So an initial faith is needed. Okay, I've done the rest of it, you know. I've traveled, I've had all sorts of wines, partners, and this, to be happy. Let me also try this chanting. Let's make the experiment. Let's see. It doesn't cost a dime. But then when we do this, we get the chance to recognize how actually this sound vibration is the best friend that we're looking for. The sound vibration is always there with us, no matter where we are, no matter our bank balance, no matter our life status. We can always have Krishna present. And so Arjuna, he now is begging Krishna, I don't want to see you in any other feature. Like now, we're not seeing Krishna, or we may recognize Krishna in nature, we may recognize Krishna in the abilities in people, we may hear good philosophy and appreciate him intellectually. But Arjuna now wants, I want to see your very beautiful form. So the higher aspects of Krishna consciousness is what George Harrison he wrote in the preface of Krishna book. That if there's a God, I want to meet him, I want to shake his hand, I want to see him face to face. So this process of chanting Hare Krishna, it goes up to a point where God no longer is seen in awe and reverence and grandeur, but God is seen even as an equal. Sometimes even one feels themselves as superior to God, as a mother, as a father. So we encourage everyone to try to get in more in this relationship with Krishna and try to love him more by chanting regularly the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Make that experiment, intensify it, have more focus as you do it, and you will be proof of the result in your own life. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Please guys, now there will be standing worship, Aarti. Please stand up.
Gopi